I'm not sure that beating up on the carriers works anymore. A lot of them have gone out of business. The smart ones are looking to see, are you a geographic fit? Do you fit in with the other customers that they have in the network? Reducing freight costs, if we're not going to renegotiate, what can we do to reduce freight costs? One of the very important and hidden costs of freight is which carriers you use and how you have negotiated that initially. We'll talk about Payload here first. Which customer is better? Sorry, which carrier is better? A carrier that provides us $3 a mile and will haul 44,000 pounds, or a carrier that charges $3.02 a mile that'll haul 48,000 pounds, and assuming you're a weight-constrained company. Okay. Well, it's obvious, right? Unfortunately, most companies, when they're negotiating and talking to their carriers, don't ask this question, okay? And so as a result, you get them choosing this carrier. Going to suggest that when we go and talk to our carriers, we always ask what they will haul for that particular rate. What's their capacity to do that, okay? So Payload is the first thing. The second thing is, how do we make sure we use that primary carrier the most often? Think of it as, how do I get first tender acceptance to be in the high 90s rate, 90% rate? And the answer is, we've got to start to look at smoothing. I've given a whole series of discussions about the challenges that planning systems have with providing fluctuations up and down. So they're often saying, I will accept this and this and this, but you need to deal with these spikes here, okay? And if you deal with those spikes, you're going to a secondary carrier, which is generally more expensive. So that's a real challenge. How do you solve that problem? Well, you have to start level loading your tool, your primary freight. It's much harder to do with customers, and we've talked a little bit about that, because customers are going to do what customers are going to do. Particularly large and demanding ones, and I always use Walmart as that example of large customers. But there are still some things that you can do to smooth that, not so much from a perspective of saying, hey, I'm not going to ship Walmart their 3 loads this week, but really giving carriers some advance warning, hey, you're going to have a load on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay? Giving them that advance tender will give them a great deal more capabilities to react and position equipment as appropriately. So how do you reduce freight rates? Well, obviously not going into the spot market or using, I'll call it, less preferred carriers.